he has just fallen off a cliff when it comes to Generation Z. Look at this, Donald Trump's net approval rating in February of 2025. John said it right. Wow.
This was actually a month into the administration.
This was a month into the administration. He was at plus 10 points on the net approval rating. He was on the right side of the ledger. Look at this, falling off that cliff. That is a drop of 42 points to negative 32 points. This, as I said, is a very swingy group, and it has swung very much away from Donald John Trump.
Yeah, well, to quote Harry Enten there, Trump's approval rating with Gen Z has, quote, fallen off a cliff. And if you think those numbers are bad, just wait until you see his approval ratings overall. But first, more on Gen Z specifically. Enten also found that Gen Z voters are identifying as Democrats now in huge numbers, especially when compared to other age demographics.
These guys are swingers. That's what we're talking about here. Take a look here. Generation Z. John liked that. Gen Z party ID margin, Dems versus the GOP. In 2024, look at this. It was just a 6-point margin between the Democrats and Republicans. Democrats just led by 6 points. Very small. Remember, Donald Trump did very well for a Republican candidate amongst the youngest part of the electorate. But take a look here. 2025. Hello. A huge widening of the lead for Democrats among Generation Z, tripling their lead on party identification from 6 all the way up to 20. That was, in fact, the largest shift, considerably more so than any other group. Yes, there was a shift in the overall electorate, but this more than double the shift that we saw among the electorate at large.
All right, so earlier this month, we actually did a deep dive into Trump's numbers with young men specifically, and we'll link to that segment in the description below. But spoiler alert, his polling is very bad. Here is a very small preview. Last spring, Trump's favorability rating among young men was 56%, and it now stands at 46%, and a lowly 36% among all young people. And Trump isn't just hemorrhaging young voters, he's losing the American people entirely. Here's one more clip from Harry Enten.
Just look at Donald Trump's net approval rating. Negative, 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 negative. Negative 14, negative 16, negative 17, and negative 19 according to AP North, with no real change in the aggregate from where we were last month. What issues is President Trump doing well on? None of them, really. He's doing poorly on all of them. What are we talking about here? Well, we spoke about immigration last hour. He's at a negative 11 points there, of course, had been a strength for him. Foreign policy, minus 14 points. The economy, the reason that Donald Trump really got elected to a second term was to fix the economy. He's at 16 points underwater there. Trade and tariffs, such a big part of his second term agenda. Negative 18 points there. And we really haven't spoken about the Epstein case in a while, but 38 points underwater there. Negative, 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 and negative.
Well, I can't say it any better than he just did. These numbers are very exciting to see. They're very encouraging to see this from the American people and the response from it. My concern, not to be like a Debbie Downer, is that the Democratic Party will see that and be encouraged and think that they don't have to do anything to better themselves or to actually give the American people these things that we are asking, that we're desperate for, from seeing from the Democratic Party. What do you think, Waz?
It's not hard to understand why Trump is underwater in these categories, and why I think, some people on the left kind of overrate his project in terms of his strength and viability. He's an extremely weak president. Everything he has to do has to be done by executive order. They can't pass anything into Congress. And the reason is, Yaz, he's not doing anything redistributive, okay? Like if they would have took this ICE funding and been targeted about how they distribute these like brand new government jobs in certain areas, that's a material good and benefit that he's providing for communities that would be lasting and binding. It's like, yo, Donald Trump got me this job. Donald Trump got my town this funding. And so Donald Trump can go out and do his ridiculous adventurism abroad. He can be as corrupt as he wants with crypto. He can do all this nasty stuff that he's doing because he has a redistributive agenda that's actually benefiting people. But the problem for Donald Trump, and I think young people, young men in particular, liked him because they thought he was different, is that he's not different. He's exactly the same, but just worse. He's more corrupt. He's a bigger warmonger. He's even more of a finger wagger. He's the worst. Like he's the same, but all of their worst qualities and tendencies. And so yeah, it's no wonder that people have quickly realized that this guy's not different. He wants to do the wars. He's freaking paid to play. He's not gonna do anything for normal people, and he's just like every other politician before him, except worse.
Yeah, and I hate to say I told you so, but like we did, like we told them so
I mean, this was
so
obvious.
many times. So, and that's not helpful now. I understand that, but I can't help myself.
And last but not least, if the Democrats come in and they don't offer, they're gonna come in sweeping in midterms. They'll probably win the next presidency. They're gonna come in and win. But if they don't offer, a program that's redistributive and actually benefits normal everyday people, they're gonna get swept out too. And on and on and on we go.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is Gen Z, they're switching their registration from Republican to Democrat. I think that's very encouraging because hopefully, in my mind, what I'm choosing to believe is that they're doing so that they can actually vote in different Democrats, maybe more progressive Democrats if I'm like really dreaming big here, so.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.